Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Gold Mythic Akira, who is going to be an advanced token wheel character coming to RTS. Now visually we have had an Akira in the game before during the S-Class era. He was also a tough character, which this Akira is. I know he's utilizing two different weapons in the visuals, but he is going to be using that long rifle as the actual weapon, as you can see. He has got a very, very nice samurai sword. I think that is going to be attached to him. On the left-hand side, it looks like he's just about to utilize this. I thought initially on a walker, but it looks like someone's just been bitten, and he's going to have to take that person down, unfortunately for them. But visuals look really cool. I think a character that was kind of liked by a lot of people, but also hated because he was very powerful in the S-Class era. If we look at his stats at level 1,440 limit break 3, he has got 13,228 attack, 35,276 defense, and 39,685 HP. He is a tough character, of course, holding that rifle. He's going to be a support role character, Gold Mythic of course, and he's going to be joining the Outlander's Allegiance. And this makes a lot of sense because if you remember back to Brutus's story during the S-Class era, Akira was in that actual storyline. But it's kind of cool that they're starting to add to older allegiances, so we could see more characters coming along like this in the future. Now if we take a look at Akira's Adrenaline Rush, it is called Premeditation. It's a 75 AP cost rush. Revive 2 teammates with 50% of their max HP. Those teammates get Guardian Shield and 100% of their max AP. This is going to work on attack teams and defense teams. There's nothing here that's specific to either. And the revive obviously comes in first, then the Guardian Shield, so it's the characters that get revived. And then if characters, of course, get 100% of their max AP. As you know, when a character gets revived now, they no longer have the AP that they had when they were taken down. They go down to a max of 50% of their max AP. So this will just bring them back up to 100%, and you'll be able to rush straight away. On a defense team, they'll automatically just take their turn and Adrenaline Rush. On an attack team, obviously you can choose whether you want to Adrenaline Rush straight away or not. This is very powerful, but the thing that we want to see is, does this have any effect with the second half of this rush if there are characters that don't get revived? For instance, if this Adrenaline Rush goes off and everyone on the team is alive, will it still give Guardian Shields and 100% of their max AP? Okay, so here we are on an attack team, and 2 of my teammates have been taken down. So I've got to use my Adrenaline Rush to pick them back up. They'll get 100% of their max AP, and they'll also be sitting there with Guardian Shields, you'd hope. Adrenaline Rush comes off, Guardian Shields, max AP. As you can see, they only got 60 AP, even though they've got 120 AP rushes. And this is because when they're taken down, they already had 50% when they're picked back up. But it is whatever, regardless, they're going to need 100% AP is 100% AP. They can do their Adrenaline Rushes. It doesn't matter who these characters are. It will always give them 100% AP. This could be someone who has very powerful rush. Someone like Sophia would be able to then instantly rush and potentially rush again due to her specialist skill. Or it could be someone on a defense team that has a massive control, or maybe massive amounts of Guardian Shields or something like that it can do instantly. This can honestly turn the tide on a fight extremely quickly. So here we have Akira's Adrenaline Rush up again, and this time we're going to find out if the AP will still be given out and the Guardian Shields. It is worth noting that we have Deputy Carl here, an Agent 46 on 14 and 12 AP. How AP gain works is it generally goes to the people with the highest current AP or closest to 100%. So it should go to these 2 characters, and this will be very, very powerful potentially if this was possible. We'll do the Adrenaline Rush, and you're going to see that no Guardian Shields come out and no AP gain comes out. It only is going to work if the characters are being picked up on that Adrenaline Rush. Now some people might think that obviously makes it not as good, but I think it probably makes it pretty fair because you can get that off of turn 1 on an attack team without too much of a problem. I did that just then, and you'd be able to have 2 people rushing instantly, and that would be very, very powerful. On a defense team, when this does go off, generally speaking at 75 AP, considering his specialist skill, he's not going to be attacking necessarily every turn. you're going to have characters that are down. So it's going to revive people. On an attack team, you can do this when you feel the best time is to do it. And obviously the best time to rush is when there's characters that are down that can be revived and you can get that adrenaline rush straight away. So I don't see this as too problematic, and I think if it didn't work this way and it did work where it gave 100% AP regardless, it could be very damaging, honestly, to the game in terms of how much AP people could get on attack teams off turn 1 way too quickly. But let's get straight into the upgrades. You can see at grade 2, it's going to have plus 25% revive HP, so initially it is going to be 25% and it will get boosted up to 50%. At grade 4, there's an upgrade where the revive teammates get Guardian Shields. This is obviously going to be one character getting a Guardian Shield in this case. And then at Limit Break 1, you get +1 to the revive count, but also +1 to the Guardian Shield count. And at Limit Break 3, an upgrade comes in where the revive teammates get 100% of their max AP. And then obviously that's going to work on attack or defense. It only works on the characters that get revived. It does say it in pretty straightforward English here. Revived teammates get 100% of their max AP. But it was always worth testing just to see, because I know I'd have people ask if I didn't. So I think this Adrenaline Rush is extremely powerful on attack, because obviously you get to dictate when this happens. On defense, it is a little bit more of a liability. He could do it when everyone's alive. He could do it when everyone's decapped that is down. That is kind of just the way it goes. Generally, on defense teams, they will prioritize the Adrenaline Rush over doing other things. But like I said, generally speaking, when he will get this Adrenaline Rush off will be when your characters have been taken out, because it is quite slow. And he is kind of slow as a character anyway, because of his special skill, which we will look at later in the video. But like I said in the clips before, if this goes off and it does pick up 2 teammates and they do get 100% of the max AP, it will massively turn the tide of a fight, be it if this guy's on a defense team or an attack team. Now next up, we're going to be looking at the signature move, and it is called Impaired. It is an initial cooldown of turn 1, cooldown of 4 turns, number of uses unlimited. And it's pretty straightforward. We've seen this a couple of times on a couple of other characters. It's impair an enemy for the rest of combat. This has no effect in Faction Assault. It's a shame that in Faction Assault it doesn't act as like a 2-turn impair or something, but it has no effect in Faction Assault. It's pretty straightforward. I think we've got this in most of the other ones now. We've got like Daze on Laura, Stun on I believe it was Marcus. And we also have Confuse on Trader. So I guess we're just waiting for Taunt for the rest of combat. Maybe Taunt's too powerful because it would obviously add AP gain constantly, but that could be still pretty good. There was a character with slightly higher AP cost, but this is pretty straightforward. This is going to counter very particular characters. For instance, this actually does counter Eris and anyone who is an Outlast character, because if you use this on them straight away, when they're going into the Outlast state, they're going to be at 0 AP because they can't gain AP initially, and then when they're going to Outlast state, they'll gain 100% AP, but this will block the AP gain. Then they'll cleanse this, and in a lot of characters' cases, they'll cleanse this, and then they'll have 0 AP, or let's say 5 or 6 AP, depending on how much AP they had when this was actually originally put on them. So this is obviously powerful. He will gain 35 AP when he does this, as is norm with his signature move, but it also runs the risk of not having any weapons trigger. It also runs the risk of not letting a character gain AP from having to attack them to do it. I think most people understand how this works and how powerful this can be. So we can start the fight, and we can see that Eris is on the other team, and we can decide what we're going to impair her for the rest of combat. This means that any damage she takes, she will not gain AP. So if I do use the signature move here of Sophia, we have taken her out. She would normally gain 100% AP, but now she's got no AP. And then if I just do some defense and so on and so forth, the next turn, it doesn't show it, but she actually does her signature move, and that's it. You can see I've got infection from her signature move. She doesn't do her Adrenaline Rush, and she's down for the count. That means she can't take out enemies. It's not going to proc her weapon to revive herself or revive teammates with the actual rush itself. But it can work on any character, not just Outlast characters. Impair means they're just never going to do their Adrenaline Rush, pretty much. They're never going to gain AP. It can be cleansed. It has got a reasonably long cooldown for Akira, but it's not too bad. Now, if we look at the upgrades on the signature move, you can see it's pretty straightforward. At grade 3, it gets -1 to starting cooldown, so it goes from a turn 3 starting cooldown down to a turn 2 starting cooldown. So it goes from a 5-turn cooldown down to a 4-turn cooldown. And at Limit Break 2, it gets -1 to starting cooldown again, and it goes from turn 2 starting cooldown down to turn 1. I'd say this is quite important with the turn 1 if you want to obviously get early control on attack or defense. Remember, this character can be used on both teams so far. It looks pretty viable on both. It's good for an attack team character because you can dictate where it's going to go, but on a defense team character, this is pretty problematic. You know, a lot of characters and teams set up for rushing turn 2 and 3, and he's going to impair someone for the rest of combat. There aren't too many characters that can get rid of that on an attack team, and the only way to really get rid of it is if the character gets taken down and then gets revived, because they effectively do get a cleanse when they get revived. But that's not really how you want to play things out, honestly. That's not really how you want to play things out. And you're going to be relying heavily on signature moves on your attack team characters. And attack team characters don't have the best signature moves in general. They do have pretty decent ones, but the defense team characters do have very, very good signature moves compared to their rushes. But there are obviously some problematic rushes. This is, like I said, going to be good on attack or defense. Impair for the rest of combat, pretty straightforward. Works exactly like those other ones that already exist. So yeah, pretty good. It's a shame that it isn't a little bit easier to get started and cooldown at turn 1. It would have been made Akira on attack teams a bit more viable at lower grade. On defense teams, you always want to get the character up to high grade anyway, just for stats. So getting up to LB2 for a defense team is kind of needed, even if it wasn't required to make this a turn 1 signature move. Now, of course, because this character is an advanced token wheel character, we're going to be giving away some advanced tokens. We're going to be giving away 10,000 advanced tokens to one lucky winner. If you want to enter, all you have to do is type down in the chat, Katana, because Akira has a pretty cool katana on his visuals. You don't want to get too up close and personal to Akira, but at the same time, you don't really want to stay too far away. He's got a sniper rifle, so you're in a lot of trouble either way. Best to use the entry phrase as part of a sentence, so YouTube do not spam your comment. Best of luck if you do enter the giveaway. Now back to the video. Now here are Akira's mythic abilities. These are his passive skills, and he has got cunning because he is a support character. He's 30% less likely to trigger weapon effects when attacking and being attacked. This is quite good for defense or attack teams. Next up is Burning Command. When performing the defend action, which would obviously be the command part of the burning command, 5 enemies get 10% of this character's living team's total attack stat as burn damage for 2 turns. This is actually massive on an attack team or a defense team. Honestly, this works on both, because on an attack team, that attack team will have extremely high attack as a combined unit, so it could potentially do up to 50,000 burn to all 5 enemies. However, on a defense team, their attack won't go as high, but the attack team's HP isn't as high, so it doesn't need to be as high to be effective. So this will work either way. On an attack team, you can do this even if you don't want to command someone, so you could actually just defend instantly and do huge amounts of burn damage. Really kind of cool way of getting a lot of damage off early on in the fight. It means Akira could be utilized on burn teams. He could be utilized on burn bleed teams. He could be utilized in just general percentage damage teams and see burn as being a little bit of an extra addition. I like this one quite a lot, actually. The next one's called Ready for Death. At the start of each turn, a random teammate gets 100% Halo for 2 turns. You might have seen that in some of the clips before. This is going to happen right at the beginning of the fight as well. So on an attack team, someone will instantly get Halo, and then on a defense team, it will happen at the beginning of their own turn. Now this is going to happen every single turn. So after 2 turns, you're going to have 2 characters at all times with Halo on your team. That's going to obviously be very nice for attack or defense. Honestly, again, it doesn't look like he's swinging too much towards either team. He's going to be able to work on both. The last passive is called Sharpened Mind. At the start of each turn, one other teammate gets 100% attack for 1 turn. Now this does sway him a little bit towards the attack team. This is going to be very beneficial there, but this isn't going to be terrible for a defense team. One character getting a massive attack boost, especially off of those earlier turns, does mean any dogpile damage will just do enhanced damage on a character. This isn't problematic for a defense team, but it isn't amazing. It is definitely amazing for an attack team, especially if it lands on a character where you want to do initial high level damage off of turn 1. Now if we start attacking, we can see we have got a defense team here, and Akira on attack can just do defend action before anyone else takes their turn, and he'll add 10% of the max damage of the entire team together onto the enemy team as burn damage. This 100% attack boost he does as well will actually be calculated into this. So this is just 2 characters, Akira doing the burn action adds 10,000 burn. Now let's add 3 more characters with a couple of 1535s, maybe another buff weapon, and see what kind of burn damage that can get up to. So now we've got a team together and we've got a bit more damage overall. We also do have Sophia on the attack team getting the 100% attack boost. She had one of the higher base attacks. So when I do the burn damage this time around, it is going to be 60k burn to the entire team. You can make some ridiculously high attack teams. I did go over one on my stream once where everyone had over 200k attack each. So that potentially means you could be doing 100k burn off of turn 1 if you put together a very silly team. So very amusing on the burn damage potential there. You did also see obviously the 100% attack landing on people. That is going to affect that burn damage, and also the halo just proccing off of turn 1 on an attack team. That's going to be very nice. If it lands on the right damage dealer, you're going to get effectively some like reflect protection, which is actually kind of nice. If we look at the upgrades here on Akira's passives, you can see at grade 1, he's going to get the first half of Burning Command. When performing the defend action, 5 enemies get 5% of this fighter's living team's total attack stat as burn damage for 2 turns. At grade 2, he's going to get the first half of Cunning. When attacking or being attacked, 15% less likely to trigger enemy weapon effects and walker effects. At grade 3, he's going to get the second half of Burning Command. When performing the defend action, 5 enemies get an extra 5% of this fighter's living team's total attack stat as burn damage for 2 turns. It stacks, making it 10% total. Then we'll move on to grade 4 and 5 as the first half of Ready for Death comes in at the start of each turn. A random teammate gets 50% Halo for 2 turns, and that's going to be a 100% chance to occur, but it's just 50% Halo, so that's actually kind of nice. At grade 5, the first half of Sharpened Mind comes in at the start of each turn. One other teammate gets 50% attack for 1 turn. Again, it's a 100% chance to occur, but it's just 50% attack is going to be the buff. Into the limit breaks, we get the second half of Cunning, making it 30% less likely to proc weapons when being attacked or attacking. At limit break 2, the second half of Ready for Death is going to come in, and it's going to just make it 100% Halo for 2 turns. And then at LB3, Sharpened Mind 2 comes in, making it 100% attack for 1 turn. I actually really like these passive upgrades based on the fact that it doesn't matter what grade you get him to, even if you only get 1 copy, he's still going to be useful for an attack team. Obviously, you want to get as many copies possible to put on a defense team, but you could potentially just get 1 copy of this character and you'll have some viability on an attack team because it will proc that burn potential and it will be based on your entire team's attack. So even though Akira will be low grade, as long as the rest of your attack team does huge amounts of attack damage, it's going to be obviously a massive amount of burn damage that's going to come out from that. You will have to get him to a higher grade if you want to utilize things like that first turn Impaired or the Adrenaline Rush giving out more AP, so on and so forth. But you could see this guy as more of just a support character that does pretty decent burn off of turn 1 based on the rest of the team that he's going to have surrounding him. Now last but by no means least, on the main kit, Akira does have a specialist skill of course, and it is Command. When this fighter defends the previous ally to take an action, this turn will receive a bonus action. That ally will be unable to act the next turn. You know how Command works. It is very powerful. It is obviously quite a powerful thing on an attack team. Not as amazing as it used to be on defense, but still can potentially be used. Obviously, a rush going off earlier than you expect can be problematic. But on an attack team, obviously, this is going to have the added bonus. But when this character uses their specialist skill, it's going to have the added bonus of doing that burn as well. So you can kind of see it as a boost to the specialist skill itself. As I showed in a previous clip, you do not have to utilize the command action itself. You just have to defend to actually get the burn to actually take place. So you could defend as the first action in the fight and not actually command someone to still get that burn to actually happen. So this is obviously a powerful specialist skill, but even more powerful because of that passive. Now Akira does have an attached weapon, and it's Akira's robust sniper rifle. It has got 40% defense, 40% HP, heal when hit. When being attacked, this fighter has a 50% chance to heal for 20% of their max HP, except when at max HP. So if he's at full HP, when you attack him, it can never proc. In the 4 slot, it has harmed heal. At the start of each turn, this fighter heals for 20% of their max HP for each negative effect on this fighter. So he is basically just going to be healing himself up to max HP almost constantly. On an attack team, you could maybe swap this weapon out for something that you think is more viable. You could even give Akira a bit more offense to boost that burn of the overall team. Obviously, it's up to you how you want to do things here. On defense, I would say you could have this as base. I think this is mainly built for a defense team, so it has a defense team option. Or you could just switch into his hands a more defensive tough weapon. We have had quite a lot of defensive tough weapons in the past with Impaired and tough healing on them, and that would definitely work as well. So you've definitely got the option to swap it out. It comes instantly as a 5-star, so you don't have to upgrade it or anything to just swap it out. It's a good option. The visuals of the sniper rifle will obviously remain, and it is quite a nice looking sniper rifle, I'm not going to lie. So that is a little look at Akira, and he is going to be joining the Outlanders. The synergy between him and characters like Brutus and, let's say, Scotsman could potentially be there, and could actually boost the potential of their attack teams. But regardless, on any attack team that has a pretty high attack, that's going to be nice with that passive, the burn. Definitely worth picking up, in my opinion, at least one copy. I might go into a bit further detail on this character in the future based on that at least that single copy. But it's going to be kind of like the video I made for Laura, where it's definitely worth picking up one copy for her just to utilize her passives and how they work. Akira looks pretty much the same. Do tell me your thoughts on Akira though in the comments down below. That is the end of my video. Best of luck if you enter the giveaway, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.